The main character, Tendo, sits in his dirty apartment, eating noodles, watching a movie about a zombie apocalypse. He thinks that a zombie apocalypse would be preferable to going back to work in the morning. Engulfed by memories, we travel back 3 years to Tendo's first day at work, when his soul was ablaze with ambitions and dreams. In no time at all, Tendo crosses paths with Sayori Otori from accounting, who seemed to magnetically draw his attention. His heart raced at just one glance from her. Lunch break in the office becomes a pivotal moment. Tendo covertly observes Otori and swears to himself that he will work diligently to win her attention. However, things don't go as smoothly as he imagined. His first workday stretches into an endless 48 hours. The daily overtime gradually drains his vitality. A year passed, and despite all obstacles, Tendo remained an indomitable optimist. Until one day, during one of the grueling workdays, he whimsically dreams of a rocket that could end his torment. At that very moment, Otori approaches him with lunch. His eyes lit up, and warmth filled his heart. Otori had prepared lunch specifically for him, and it wasn't just a gesture of attention but a testament to her care. He barely had a moment to savor this joy when he immediately saw Otori moving into the embrace of the vile CEO. She was his mistress. This instantly shattered all his fantasies and dreams of a shared future with Otori. Over the course of 3 endless years, every night Tendo falls asleep praying for eternal rest, wishing to never wake up and return to work. One morning, Tendo realizes he forgot to pay for his bicycle's parking spot. However, as he descends to address the issue, he encounters a zombie, which, mirroring the zombie apocalypse movie, is feasting on a victim. As Tendo stands in shock, trying to comprehend the situation, the zombie spots him. The chase begins. And even amidst this chaos, as he's fleeing from hordes of zombies, Tendo's sole thought is not to be late for work. But as the reality of the ensuing zombie apocalypse sinks in, his world becomes vividly colored once more. He no longer has to go to work. This thought ignites joy and enthusiasm in him. Feeling liberated, Tendo's first decision is to find Sayori and finally confess his feelings to her. However, upon arriving at her apartment, he encounters a zombie version of the CEO. After a brief but emotional confrontation, Tendo fires the CEO, sending him plummeting out of the window. Tendo's heart breaks in anguish when he discovers that Otori has also become a zombie. He confesses his love to her, saying goodbye for the last time. In this renewed world, fraught with danger and filled with surprises, Tendo is inspired to create a bucket list. Those wishes that had always been put off due to endless workdays. His new mission, to fulfill each of these wishes before he either dies or becomes one of the soulless zombies. Tendo wakes up in a cold sweat, his heart racing wildly. His nightmares had once again taken him back to the office, where his boss incessantly reprimands him for his work. In the nightmare, he felt immense pressure and stress. Shaking off the horror, Tendo realizes he's still in his apartment. The zombie apocalypse is outside, and there's no need to go to work. Deciding that it's time to clean up the apartment, since he hasn't tidied up in the past 3 years, Tendo thinks, looking at the piles of trash. Opening a can of beer, Tendo notes to himself how delightful it is to enjoy a drink in the morning instead of heading to work. As he cheerfully cleans, a news report about the zombie apocalypse airs on TV. This captures Tendo's attention and lifts his spirits. A clean home is a clean mind, he mutters to himself after tidying up. After cleaning, he decides that he will do nothing all day but drink beer, calling it holy water, only to find out he's finished his last can. Gearing up for a trip to the store for beer, Tendo uses the drain pipe to descend, as the regular exit from the building is blocked by zombies. Along the way, Tendo encounters live neighbors living below his apartment, a man and a woman, who seem to be well equipped and prepared for the zombie apocalypse. After a brief exchange of news and an unexpected request for toilet paper from them, he continues on his bicycle. Despite the circumstances, Tendo maintains his sense of humor and positivity. After all, there's no work to attend. Humming a little song about beer, Tendo cheerfully approaches the store. Upon entering, he encounters a beautiful girl. He tries to make an impression, but realizes that humming his beer tune might not have been the best icebreaker. An abrupt appearance of zombies makes their meeting even more tense. Trying to save her, Tendo bravely jumps at the horde of zombies, but fails to notice a truck driven by a zombie hurtling towards the store. At the last moment, the girl pushes him aside, leading both of them away from the collision zone. The truck crashes into the store, mowing down the zombies. Once Tendo realizes all zombies have been eliminated, He tries to get her phone number, but seeing Tendo's basket filled with beer, the girl declines, asserting that he doesn't grasp the gravity of the situation, having come to the store for beer rather than essential supplies. The girl, realizing that the noise will likely attract more zombies, decides to quickly flee the scene. Tendo, exiting the store, discovers that his bicycle has been severely damaged due to the truck collision, leaving him without transportation to navigate through the zombie hordes to get home. Determined not to be defeated, Tendo decides to take matters into his own hands. Right then, he spots a sleek motorcycle and decides to fulfill one of his long-held wishes, to ride a cool bike. This gives him a boost of energy and confidence, and he swiftly makes his way home. Climbing the drainpipe back to his apartment, he's disheartened to discover that zombies have made their way into the apartment of his new acquaintances, the neighbors. At home, Tendo realizes that his perspectives on life have shifted. Finally grasping the gravity of the situation, he starts to fill out his bucket list of wishes he hopes to fulfill before potentially becoming one of the zombies. He goes over each item, pondering his priorities. On the other side of the city, the girl he met in the store is also making a list. However, her list is focused on survival. She carefully plans every move and decision, keeping in mind the essential need to stay alive. The girl recalls the trip to the store, how she meticulously plans every step for survival. How, from the safety of her apartment, where she has nearly everything needed to survive, she ventures out to the store for the essentials. How she sneaked into the store so discreetly that not even zombies noticed. And then, out of nowhere, humming cheerfully under his breath about wanting beer, and yearning to quickly get home to laze around, Tendo bursts into the store. Naturally, he attracts zombies along the way. While she's contemplating an escape plan, Tendo, thinking he's saving her, jumps into the crowd of zombies just as the truck is about to collide. Unexpectedly, the girl decides to rescue Tendo. She finds his nonchalance and carefreeness puzzling, yet she can't deny that his decisiveness and ability to act in the heat of the moment are commendable. In her memories, we see a stark contrast between her careful deliberation and Tendo's impulsiveness. Yet, in critical situations, they both find the strength and bravery to push forward, staying alive and working towards their objectives. The city is engulfed in chaos, with hordes of zombies on the streets. Those still alive are searching for refuge and allies. Inside the Showtime nightclub, a group of survivors, led by the charismatic Mr. Show, are desperately fending off a zombie onslaught. Despite their efforts, the situation is becoming increasingly tense. It's challenging to counter the sheer numbers of the undead. All hopes rest on the enigmatic Mr. Show, who's spearheading the defense, but even his resources have limits. Meanwhile, Tendo, sitting in his apartment, studies his reflection in the mirror. Mulling over the idea of growing a beard, he determines it's not for him and strikes it off his bucket list. To his surprise, he discovers that the internet is back up. He hurriedly sends messages to his friends, proposing a gathering. However, the realization of the catastrophe's magnitude hits him again, and he questions whether any of his friends made it through. Coming across a number in the phone book, he reminisces about Kencho, an old university buddy. Kencho had always been an effervescent and upbeat individual. Moreover, during their most recent get-togethers at the bar, he'd spoken of his glittering career and personal milestones. Tendo felt assured that, despite the apocalypse, Kencho, with his charisma and fortuitous nature, must have survived. At the other end of the city, Kencho finds himself in a dire situation. He's trapped in a hotel room, and his only company is a zombified girl, shackled with handcuffs. Outside, the hotel corridors are teeming with wandering zombies. His water supplies are running low when suddenly his phone rings. It's Tendo. Kencho, slightly taken aback, picks up. Hearing the familiar voice, Kencho momentarily forgets about his grim circumstances. Tendo, with his usual zeal, reminisces about their bar hangouts a year ago, laughs, and mentions how much he misses those times. He confidently suggests they meet up, as if the surrounding chaos is just a regular rainy day, not an apocalypse. Kencho, a bit bewildered but cheerful, gives him the hotel's address. Tendo, undeterred by the chaos, assures his friend that he'll be there soon. In a flash, memories transport him back to that bar where Kencho bragged about his career and personal life successes. Meanwhile, Tendo was slaving away at work, envying and dreaming of a life like Kencho's. Tendo's emotions, pent up from all the stress, finally boiled over, and he lashed out at Kencho, resenting him for always seeming so carefree and successful. Tendo, undeterred by challenges, especially when a friend's life was at stake, decides to come to the rescue. He devises a cunning plan, using a car as a catalyst to attract the attention of zombies. This noise not only helped him to sneak into the hotel but also inadvertently saved Mr. Sho from another attack. When he meets Kensho in the hotel corridor, Tendo tearfully apologizes for his behavior at the bar that night, admitting that Kensho was right. Tendo should have quit the job that was wearing him out. Their joyful reunion in the corridor attracts the attention of zombies, and fleeing from them, the guys find themselves on the hotel roof. Realizing there's nowhere else to run and with zombies breaking through the barricaded door, Tendo suggests a daring plan to Kensho, to jump to the roof of the adjacent building, which he himself did. But then, the always confident and successful Kensho suddenly hesitated, questioning if he could make the jump after Tendo. As if saying goodbye to him, Kensho admits that he never really liked his job and was only boasting all this time to impress Tendo. In fact, he had always dreamt of becoming a comedian and making people laugh. After a brief motivational speech from Tendo, Kensho overcomes his fear and decides to jump. As a nod to an old college joke, he strips down mid-flight. Now, safely resting on the roof of the adjacent building, Tendo and Kensho drink beer, discussing the future and how they will navigate this new world after the apocalypse. In the chaos-ridden city atop a building, Tendo and Kensho found temporary refuge. Against a backdrop of a horizon filled with ruins, Tendo gets engrossed in a video game while Kensho showcases his culinary talents, preparing food. They set up a picnic right on the roof, and Tendo ticks off another item from his bucket list. He doesn't miss a chance to compliment Kensho on his cooking skills, to which Kensho quips that it's precisely due to Tendo's lack of such talents that he doesn't have a girlfriend. Amid friendly teasing and laughter, Tendo throws down a challenge to Kensho, asserting that he'll find himself a girlfriend by the end of the day. While relaxing, Kensho discovers Tendo's list. Seeing one of the items, treat a flight attendant to wine and dinner, Kensho laughs, noting how unrealistic it is during a zombie apocalypse. However, he decides to add some of his own wishes to the list. They set off on a motorcycle journey through the city in search of a large flat-screen TV, aiming to fulfill one of the items on the list. Upon reaching the store, Tendo and Kensho encountered the aftermath of a terrible accident. A pile-up of cars blocked the entrance. Surveying the chaos, they suddenly recognized a new threat, a fuel tanker hurtling towards them at full speed. Tendo's reaction was instantaneous. Seeing an entrance to an underground passage ahead, he revved up the bike, and in the nick of time, they descended into it, narrowly avoiding a collision. However, in the underground passage, a new danger awaited them: zombies. As they tried to escape the pursuit, they noticed an unlocked entrance to a store. Quickly slipping inside, they lowered the security shutters, protecting themselves from the external threat. The guys encounter a group of survivors for whom the store has become a temporary refuge. This group consists of 3 women and 1 man. In desperation, the women suggest having a drink, to which the guys readily agree. At that moment, Tendo and Kensho exchange elated glances, realizing they're essentially on a group date. During their conversation, the guys learn that the women are flight attendants, which thrills them immensely as one of the items on their list unintentionally comes true. During the date, Tendo grapples with internal doubts and determination. Seeing how effortlessly Kensho flirts with one of the women, he decides to try and make a connection as well. To muster courage, Tendo decides to have a drink and, in an attempt to stand out, he drinks alcohol through his nose. However, he misjudges his tolerance and passes out. When he comes to, he feels incredibly sick. In the store's restroom, one of the women comes to Tendo's aid as he struggles with the effects of excessive alcohol consumption. Meanwhile, Kensho, not wasting any time, heads off to test out a bed from the store's furniture section, accompanied by another woman. The surviving man turns out to be infected. Left alone with one of the flight attendants, he attacks her, and now she too becomes a threat. When Kensho and the woman rush to the source of the noise, they're met with a bloody scene. The zombified flight attendant lunges at Kensho's companion. He rushes in an attempt to save her, but it's too late. The woman gets infected. In a desperate move to salvage the situation, Kensho uses a suitcase to take down the zombie flight attendant, ironically commenting on his unconventional weapon choice. Meanwhile, Tendo and the woman, sitting on a staircase, share heartfelt confessions and memories. Suddenly, from the shadows, the zombified man launches a silent attack. Before Tendo can grasp the situation, the woman is bitten. Already infected, she urges Tendo to save himself and run while he's still unharmed. Staggered and shaken by what just occurred, Tendo moves deeper into the store where he encounters Kensho. Without wasting time, Kensho has already dealt with the threat and even found the desired large flat-screen TV from Tendo's list. Seeing the distraught Tendo, Kensho tells him they need to leave the place as soon as possible. Taking the TV with them, they make their way outside where, to their relief, there are no zombies in sight. Quickly getting on their bike, they head back to their refuge, leaving behind the horrifying memories of their store visit.